Hello and welcome to the Demo Gaming YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking about Kha'zix the Void Reaver. In this video I also added subtitles for a few different languages, so check the subtitle box to see if there's a language you're more comfortable learning in. Remember, the translations aren't perfect. If you have a question, make sure to comment down below. Kha'zix is a very solid champion to main in Season 8. He's also very good at snowballing and carrying by basically just one-shotting anyone who stands in his way. My only complaint is that Kha'zix is very squishy, and depending on your team comp and the enemy's team comp, he can get squashed like the bug he is later stages in the game. That's why I suggest if you want to main Kha'zix, you should always have a backup champion if you're like last pick and you know what they're gonna play, like Jax or maybe Sejuani or something. So let's talk about the runes that you usually take on Kha'zix. Kha'zix usually goes Domination and Sorcery, taking Electrocute, Sudden Impact, Zombie Ward, Relentless Hunter. Then for the Sorcery tree, Celerity and Water Walking. So this is pretty much the standard rune page. There are slight variation rune pages that you can also take that work well with Kha'zix's playstyle that a bunch of other players like to take. But let's talk about this rune page first. Going Domination is the best for Kha'zix currently because it helps you assassinate your targets, and so far going Electrocute gives you the best amount of damage, and that's why it's the most picked out of all the other primary Domination keystones. Going Predator doesn't really make much sense since you already have a gap closer with your E, and you need boots to even activate it, which doesn't really benefit him early since you want to buy your basic jungle item or 2 long swords on your first back. Dark Harvest isn't as bad as Predator, but it isn't as strong in the early game as Electrocute. And then after Electrocute, you'd go Sudden Impact, and it procs whenever you ult or E, which is really good. Also, if you decide to evolve your ult when you go through bushes, it'll also activate. Zombie Ward is so you can have more vision, which helps for invading and tracking the enemy jungler. If you really want to, you could maybe switch it for eyeball collection, but it's always good to have vision down. And then of course Relentless Hunter gives you more movement speed, so you can move them around the map faster and kill your targets. Celerity. So Celerity gives you more movement speed, and it also gives you extra adaptive damage based on your bonus movement speed. And then Water Walking gives you bonus movement speed and adaptive damage while in the river, which can help in team fights that are near Dragon and Baron. It's very important to play Kha'zix at the highest ability you can, which includes picking him against the right team comp. So let's talk about a little bit of his counters. So champions that counter Kha'zix include champions like Udyr, Rammus, and Sejuani. Basically those tanky champions that have a lot of CC can pretty much destroy you on later in the game. Once they start to pick up items, get tanky, you can't burst them, and then they can just CC you to death. If you do first pick Kha'zix into one of these champions, remember to build a QSS to negate some of their CC. So let's talk about how you'll build Kha'zix. So Kha'zix has 2 builds that go well with him. One is pretty much just the full 80 normal assassin build, and then another is a different build that a lot of Korean players like to go, that I've been seeing on pro builds. So for the assassin build, the first build, you go Red Smite with Warrior, Boots of Mobility. You can also take Merc Treads if they have some CC, and then Duskblade, Yamu's, Edge of Night, and then you can take Guardian Angel or Lord Dominic's Regards. This is probably the most popular build on Kha'zix, and it's for a good reason. Going Duskblade for your second item is really disgusting as it lets you do some insane damage early to mid game. I also like going Mobility Boots since it can allow you to move around the map much quicker and then, gank as many lanes as possible and just one-shot them. Of course, if the enemy has a good amount of CC, it's probably best just to go Merc Treads instead of the Boots of Mobility. And I'm not the best Kha'zix player, so having Guardian Angel as a backup plan is a good way for me to go in the team fight and not risk just getting blown up by the enemy if you're ahead and they have like a tank or Braum or something just fucking CC you and instantly kill you. And then of course you could go Lord Dominic's if they have like some tanky players on their team with like high health. So the second build, which is the Korean build, is Red Smite with Warrior, so pretty much the same. Boots of Mobility with Merc Treads, Black Cleaver, Duskblade, Mortal Reminder, and then Guardian Angel. So it's very similar, but you're going Black Cleaver. You're going Black Cleaver for your second damage item instead of the Duskblade, and you'll also be going Mortal Reminder. So this is really good against kind of tanky team comps because you have their Mortal Reminder, And then you have the black cleaver, which of course cleaves armor. But this second build is a little bit weird, I would say, and you should only build it if you're going against a tanky team. But I have seen this being built by like a few Korean players, including Blank from SKT. So now that you know about your counters, runes, and build, let's talk a little bit more about in-game, such as the early game and how you'll be clearing. Kha'zix has a pretty good early clear, and you'll usually do a 3 buff clear, which would be red, wolves, then blue. Of course, you can do the opposite if you have to end up on the other side of the map. You can gank or invade better if you do the 3 buff start on Kha'zix, and Kha'zix can't really do a full clear anyways, since it doesn't really benefit him much, since you kind of want to get stuff done, and you'd probably die before completing it anyways, because he doesn't do raptors and krugs too well for the first clear. Also, make sure to, when you do wolves, that you kill the little ones first. When it comes to ganking, you have to save your E until they flash after the first clear, because they'll most likely have it in the early game when you like do that first gank. So walk up to them, W for the slow, and then only E if like they do too much damage and they have a chance of like turning it so you can escape, or chase after them if they use flash and they're not in turret yet. Late game is probably the hardest part for Kha'zix, since you can't necessarily jump in or you'll die instantly. So wait until the team fight already starts, then engage so you can go in and just pretty much clean up. So that's pretty much it for this Kha'zix guide. Pretty fast, but this is the necessary stuff you need. Everything else you'll pretty much be learning on your own. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and yeah, I'll see you later.